Hey, scrappy people, Tracy Reed here today, and today I'm going to be creating a cute little tag mini album with the Cocoa Daisy Wanderer collection in the classified memory keeping kit. There were two of these adorable acrylic tags, and I have already printed out my photos in the same size, which was 2 3/8 by 4 3/4. You can see I have trimmed them using the acrylic tag as a guide. And then I also have ones that are too small that I will be incorporating as well using papers from the collection that I've already trimmed down to 2 3/8 and by 4 3/4. So I still need to snip off the edges of this one, but I decided to do that part on camera. So I'm just going to be using a jump ring and these acrylic tags plus the papers and the photos to create a fun little album. My husband and I do this silly thing where whenever we go anywhere, we stop at as many rest stops that are interesting as possible. So we call it the Rest Stops of America tour. We have tons of rest stops in the South. We have Kentucky, Alabama, Indiana, Georgia, tons of Tennessee ones, Virginia, North Carolina, Mississippi. We have a ton of rest stops since we've moved to the South. So I have never scrapbooked these as an album before, so that's kind of what I'm going to be doing today. It's just going to be a quick and easy tag album. I want to use the labels that are also included in this collection to maybe, I think I'm going to add the dates to them using a date stamp. So I'll just add little labels to each one of these. I'm not quite sure where yet because all of these photos are different, but yeah, let's get started.
Why is it that the smallest projects seem to take the longest? I think it was just more the logistics of this one than anything else, and you'll see why. Like, I flipped through this album like 150,000 times just because I want to make sure that everything looks right. So part of the problem, or I guess not problem, is that I didn't really think ahead too well when I was cutting these photos and thinking that, hello, some of them would need to have the tag part on the bottom because they're going to be flipped up. And then if I put the tag part at the top of the photo, they're going to be upside down. So I had to work around that because I was not going to reprint these photos. But it was kind of annoying. So there's that. So I've looked up all of the dates for these photos, and it was a little bit annoying because I didn't think to start tracking this thing that we were doing until long after the fact. So I had to go by I had to use my Photos app on my computer and go through the geotagging and look at like random photos that look like they were taken on the side of a highway and see if they were a Rest Stops of America photo and then date them from there. I found some, that's how I found the photos as well. So they're all safely in a single folder on my computer now. But yeah, it was just silly the way that this whole thing is silly, but I love it because we are silly people, and taking photos, like having a photo op at a rest stop, is hilarious to me. And so I love that we do it. So I had one problem, and the date stamp that I was using ended at 2022 or 2021 or something like that. And so I'm using a secondary date stamp, and I still wanted like the consistency of the month and the day to look the same. So I'm using two different date stamps here to finish up these last two. And because they were taken in 2022 and 2023. One is a Cocoa Daisy date stamp. The other one, I don't know. I think it looks like a Heidi Swapp date stamp. Okay, so let's start putting these together so that the photos are where they're supposed to be in order. And then I can look at it as a cohesive album and not just try to just everything. It was a lot. I had to get them in order because I couldn't focus on anything if my photos were out of order, which is silly, but it's true. I love that rest stop photo of the Virginia rest stop because it says love. Virginia is for lovers, so that rest stop going from Tennessee to Virginia has love on it. So now I'm going to see there, that's where it was. I go, wait, that was upside down. That one's upside down. Oh no. Okay, this one can be turned around though because it's just stuck to the paper. But I'm going to have to figure out a way to not make this one upside down. So we're going to switch these two around, which is vaguely annoying because now they're out of order, but at least they're in the right place. It's still going to get moved around a little bit, but you can see this is where I start tackling the problem. And the way that I really dealt with it, what more than anything, was to make the ones that were on top the photos that were not full photos for the most part. And so I could orient those the way that I wanted to, but I'm having a little bit of a struggle with this set because that one was upside down and I couldn't do anything about it. These sideways ones couldn't go that way or go on the top either because then they were upside down, so they had to be by themselves. I wanted there to be some spreads that were like pattern paper and decoration on one side and photo on the other, and some spreads that had photos on both sides. So I had to make sure that those were evenly done too, and there wasn't like 5 spreads that had photos on both sides and one spread that had just, the pattern paper. So just the little things I was thinking about just to make it cohesive and not too repetitive. So I'm just using the scraps that I have here from the Cocoa Daisy Wander collection to fill in the blanks on these pages. I didn't want to cut into any more paper than I had to, so I just am making sure that I'm using all the scraps for the strips. Then I'm going to reach into this sticker sheet that came with the collections, and I'm going to use this Say Yes to New Adventures. You can see I'm just reorganizing this album 100 times. But this fits perfectly if I cut off the excess. And that's super cute. I'm also going to trim down some journaling cards from the Modern Memory Keeping collection. I use mainly the Modern Memory Keeping collection for this page because I wanted to see if I could just use one collection for the most part, and I think I did, except for that sticker sheet. And I do use some of the memory keeping stickers as well because the block sizes on the memory keeping sticker sheets are perfect for this album, this size album. All right, so now I've got the cards that I want to use pulled out. I'm going to trim them down. Some of them just have labels. Some of them are just cards that I want to trim down. So I'll cut off the labels on some of them. This one I just cut in half and use both sides. This album is obviously smaller than a 3x4, so I couldn't use all of the journaling cards, but I could use the ones that had a lot of blank white space or labels that I could cut off. So I'm going to make the cover here. I'm taking a break, making the cover, and it's going to say Rest Stops of America. I adore this alphabet from the Modern Memory Keeping collection. It's a little large for the space though, so I have to make sure that everything overlaps. So I'm just working my way from the outside edges to the inside. So you can see, SOS. You can see I did the middle too so that I could overlap everything equally. So it says Rest Stops, and then I'm going to add of America here. And again, I started the outside edges and worked my way inside. There we go, Rest Stops of America. And you'll see the cover again in a minute. I just am going back and forth. Greenville, Tennessee. This one didn't have where it was on it, so I wanted to add. I'm going to add some of these rub-ons as well, just in places where it seems a little bit boring. Lots and lots and lots of add-ons in the Cocoa Daisy collections lately. Or rub-ons? Did I say add-ons? Rub-ons. So I want to make sure I'm using them up because they don't sit well in your stash. They will go bad. So when I get them, I like to make sure I use as many of them as possible. Those are going to share a label because one was on the Tennessee side entering North Carolina, and the other one was on the North Carolina side entering Tennessee, just in the same exact spot. I think we went to Apple Pick in North Carolina, and so we took a photo on both sides. I love how I added that cancellation stamp to the O in Rest Stops. I thought that was a cool little addition there. And then I'm going to realize that this is vertical. It needs to be this way. Good thing that you can get these die cuts off pretty quickly. If they sit too long, they're going to be hard to get off, but you can get them off if you do it quick enough. So now I'm just going through and I am decorating each little page, adding things in here and there. I obviously want to add in some journaling, so I don't want to cover up too much, but I do want it to look nice and finished rather than just thrown together. So I'm just going through and adding things here and there to make sure that it looks like I decorated it, I guess, more than anything. All right, we're getting close to done here. I think I'm gonna go off camera in a second and add in my journaling so that you can see what it looks like with the actual journaling done. I liked how that journal spot from the journaling card filled up that whole page. It was a little bit big, so I had to trim down the sides. Look at me, reorganizing, rearranging. It was just frustrating, and I should have just done it. I should have just printed it again. But no, I am so stubborn when it comes to reprinting things. It's not even funny. So if I can use it, I will use it. Okay, so now I've got my journaling in. You can see it with all the words, all the labels. There is still a page or two that needs decoration, so we're gonna add in some more rub-ons to each of these pages. I just want it to look like, you know, like the aesthetic of like the outside of the old steamer trunks with all of the stickers all over it. That's just kind of the vibe that I was going for with this album. It's the vibe of the Cocoa Daisy collection, I think. So it works out pretty well. Here's another one of these stickers that I'm gonna trim to put on here. I liked the effect of having all of those different colors behind that sticker from the memory keeping sticker kit. And again, we're going over the things to look like, you know, postage cancellations and all of that. So I think we're getting close to done here. Yep. Oh, we're flipping through. So if you enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. I would love to have you. If you don't already, you can follow me over on Instagram. I'm at Tracy M. Reed. There is a link in the description box below to Cocoa Daisy. It is an affiliate link, so if you start a subscription, I will get a little bit of a kickback, and you will have brand new adorable scrapbooking products. All right, thank you.